Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Happy Decisions Lunch and Learn. Today is March 18th, year 2025. We'll get started here in just a couple of minutes. So if you're watching this on YouTube or if you are visiting later, you might want to fast forward maybe about 2 minutes. We will have time stamps in the description, so you can click the first question and get straight to it. But we can give folks a few minutes to kind of roll in and get questions populated so that we are kind of answering questions. We're helping you out. So I see a ton of people have just joined. So thank you guys for joining. Again, welcome. It shouldn't be too much longer, but we'll get started here in just a couple of moments. And we will be running through some stuff. So if you have questions, if you have questions, go ahead and add them to the QA. We can work our way through it with some direction. Just let me know if and how I can be helpful. I'd love to take it. We've got some smart people on this side of the line, and I know we got some smart people on your side of the line because I see some common names here. So let's do some learning. Cool. Yeah, like I said, so go ahead and populate the QA and we will work our way through it together. We got one in there already. Thank you very much. So that's what we'll start with. Is there a step that generates? Good question. So it's related to unique IDs in the decisions database. We will talk and walk our way through it here in just a moment. We'll give folks about another, 30 seconds to get in here. So when my East Coast time says 12:05, we will start with the question that is there a step that generates unique IDs in the same format that are used in the decisions database? All right, we got 12:05. Man of my word. Sorry about that. Let's talk. So, Jeremy, let me see here if we have some information for you. Let me see if we can figure something out. So the question again for everyone who's just joining, because a number of people have just joined, is there a step that generates unique IDs in the same format that are used in the decisions database? So let's get a little more information from you. Let me see if I can unmute you, Jeremy. Welcome. Thank you again for joining. I know you're a regular, but I appreciate you coming every day. We do have stuff like get next ID, but it's not going to be necessarily in the exact same format. What is your end goal here, and see if we can find a way to get you there?
Well, I'm trying to make a more user-friendly way to add holidays to my default location. Right now, I'm only seeing if you go into it on the system side, you can add a date. But I was trying to make something to where I could have other users or just a more bulk way to insert holidays. And I couldn't find a step that creates that, so I was just using raw SQL, but when I inserted it, I needed to specify an ID.
Yeah. Let me
So
see. Yeah, that's a good point.
there is a generate GUID step, but that's not the same format that's currently used for decisions IDs than the old format with the dashes.
Yeah, so I'm doing some research here on our end through some support ticket stuff. Thank you for all that context, by the way. That was very concise. Let's see what we can do here. You can add holidays. Are you using holidays in system settings, or you're trying to just add to the database directly?
Correct, because I couldn't find any steps anywhere, even in the integration in the internal services to create a holiday. The only place I found to do that is from system.
Okay.
And not I can't find a way to do that in a flow except using a raw SQL statement.
Yeah, while I'm thinking, I'm gonna post this in the support chat and see if they can fill it out while we're doing some noodling. But this sounds like something I might have to get back to you on. Greg, do you have any context on this? If you don't, it's totally fine. Just know that. Let me just go ahead and put that in our channel and see if someone's got something.
I'm not 100% sure, admittedly. I'm looking at it too. Nothing's immediately coming to mind, but I am testing something on my end. It'll take just like 2 minutes, see if I can figure out if this works or not.
All right, cool. Yeah, let me see. Gregory's working on it. Let me see here if I can figure some stuff out on my end. Let's make a new project here. Um, and I know you know all this, so if it existed, it would be an internal decision server step if the default step book came in. And I'll see if I can do some exploration. And like I said, I put a feeler out there. We got Greg, who is very literally one of the smartest people I know. He's working on it as well on our side. Learn stuff, man. Cool. Yeah, it's a cool one. Nice and fun. All right. So again, yeah, it's going to almost certainly be an internal decision service. Let's create a flow. Create a flow.
The method that I was checking did not work out, by the way, just so you're
Ouch.
aware. Yeah, I was checking if it was .NET libraries under the integrations, if that was that kind of service, but I'm not seeing it in there.
You said you were checking .NET library.
Yeah, like a default generation service, something outside of decisions. I was wondering if that's what we'd be doing to generate these IDs, but it is a lot looking through that. I'm not seeing anything immediately jumping out.
And getting the ID is not necessarily the best end goal. It's if there is something I'm missing on how to create a holiday from the flow would be a better solution.
Is
But
there a localization service in there?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L.
Oh,
Please.
okay. Was it region? No, not region. What's it?
I know this
Category
doesn't
called?
doesn't do it, but I just wonder. Okay. Capital H for holiday. Let me look do a little bit more research. And if not, Jeremy, this seems like something we could totally figure out. It just needs a little bit of uh, holiday inflow. We'll try one more search, and if not, I see someone has a flow in solutions called generate holidays flow. Let me look here. Imported into the main flow, generate holidays. I mean, I'm sure you've looked at all this. Like I said, I'll give this a couple more moments just to do my due diligence. But I want to make sure. So we know all this. We're trying to talk about flows here. We know all this. Have you thought? I guess I can think about it. Let's try something here. Let's do this. Not perfect, but is it under, where's that under? What field is that under?
it's under
System view.
system,
Thank you.
system
Yeah.
data location.
All right. So what if we did something like this?
Yeah, I tried that. It doesn't
Ah,
flag it in the global
dang.
debugger.
All right. Let me think here. Okay. So we want this in a flow essentially. When
Well,
we
not
do,
that, because if you click into your default location,
mhm.
then you get the add holiday button. That's what I'm trying to mimic. Or just the engine behind that, so I could just have, I could specify 12 dates and just hit go and it generates all of them.
Yeah, that's smart, man. That's cool. Give me just a couple more moments here. We got, like I said, we have a bunch of research kind of like on our internal chat stuff. So I'm kind of backlogging here some old stuff.
There is a location service.
I just look for it. I believe you, but
Yeah, I looked.
Sometime There may be. Sorry. Yeah. The services that you see in the service method steps are the ones that you can access from the local module. However, you can make API calls to other decision services. And one of those, which we can, it actually wouldn't be in the flow at first. I'll show you where.
Oh, you're making an integration? you're talking about?
I want to show you where it is first. Under settings, like the global settings, go under administration, very top there, and then features. I want to say all services, search location.
Could search for it, but I'm stubborn.
Yeah, and then if you hit view integration details, it will show you how to call different methods for this particular service. Now, I'm not seeing the holiday one. I've been looking for that and it has not come across yet, but this might be another place to look outside of just the steps. You might be able to call this service from your flow and do that.
Yeah, at this point, Jeremy, as well, like I just know that with it's 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So as the name implies, a percentage of our support team is on lunch. So hopefully we can get an answer for you, but I think this might be something I have to get back to you on. I'm seeing lots of inquiries about it on our internal like documentation side. So I would imagine there's a solution, but it's we're talking about parsing through, 10 years of messages, unfortunately. So let me, is it okay if I get back to you just at the email you kind of use for
Yeah.
this?
That's fine. Do you need
Cool.
my email?
Nope, I have it. I
Okay.
have it. And I appreciate
just
you understanding and all
Whenever
that. I just
you
want to,
get some answers, I would
Yeah.
be grateful.
yeah, I really think we can find something for you. Like I said, I really think we can find something for you. It's just one of those things where, like I said, I'm parsing through 10 years of messages and I see like that exact request and I see people mentioning generate holidays flow. I just got to figure out how they built that thing. Oh, someone just responded to me already. So this isn't perfect, Jeremy. Again, I will give you a more direct answer, but I'm going to put this in the chat for you just for now, just so I can kind of get some momentum. This is from one of our, I believe this is the dev, core dev. Let me check. Yeah, it's one of our core devs. So I'm going to send this to you in the chat. But that might be a workaround. But I will, if you don't mind, like I said, I'll just do some research and I'll send you a more consolidated answer here and maybe 30 minutes to an hour, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Cool. Thank you again for your understanding and patience. Let's keep on rolling. Thank you again, Greg, Jeremy, everybody. So we have a handful of questions in here that are all kind
Did
of.
you put that in the chat? I don't see it yet.
Oh, maybe I put in a host and panelist or something. Let me see if I can send it to you directly. Can I? Oh, here it is. How about this? Oh, somebody else just replied too. So
Yep, I got that.
cool.
There's not a
This-
single step, but they make a holiday object.
Yeah. This is another, this is one of our professional support answer. Again, that's not related to the first answer. That's not related to that's another one of our professional services folks. But that might be helpful. Just trying to get you resources, Okay, so I'm going to move, we're going to do Gunjan, and I appreciate, apologies if I missaid that. Gunjan, how do you pronounce your name, just so I can make sure I'm not doing it over and over again?
It's Gunjan.
Gunjan, hey, welcome. My name is Robert. So we have a couple questions related to data repeaters. It says, if data repeater is not the right component, please suggest what can be added to remove an ID from a list, which is a column on the grid. Okay, so I think we were talking about this yesterday, weren't we?
We were.
Yeah.
I just realized I have a data repeater remove button
Mhm.
on the data repeater, which is removing the ID from the data repeater itself. But then there's a grid that is backing the data repeater. So the whole scenario is I have a advanced data grid on a form. The grid has columns. One of the columns is a list of IDs, and I want the user to be able to add or remove IDs from that column. And then also the removed ID needs to be passed to a delete REST service method. The added ID needs to be passed to a post. So I was suggested that a data repeater is a great component for this. So after building that, it does show all the IDs and then I can select and remove it, but then it doesn't commit it to the grid. Nor can I access that ID that was removed to pass into the delete REST service method.
Mm.
So my question is if data repeater is the right component for this functionality or there is something else which can be used. And I would also like to add IDs to that column.
So unfortunately, well, I'm gonna work on this, but just I'm gonna have to. In the last 24 hours since we talked, I have changed my database. I had one built out yesterday that was kind of partially there, but I'll have to kind of do some building again. Unfortunately, I can't pick up where I left off yesterday.
That's okay.
My initial recommendation, and I'll have to just do a little bit more. And thank you for the thorough explanation and the thorough kind of goal setting. Is that to me, the first thing is saying my first logic point is going with an advanced data grid with let's just try both actually forms.
Okay.
Let's just try both here. Cool. All right, so you were using a data repeater before.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a time test here.
And that's on a form that opens up when the column is clicked. So there's a inline flow column, which then opens up a form, and there's a repeater on the form. But the advanced data grid is on a different form.
So let me draw it here real quick because I'm best with that and I just like doing it. So essentially, this is our form. Sure. In one column, you have flow inline.
Yes.
That runs a whole new form, and on that
Yeah.
form is
There
a
is
data grid
no, there's a data repeater. On the
repeater.
initial form, there's a data grid.
Oh, so it's inverted. So it's kind of like this actually.
Yeah. Yes.
And then this is on here.
Yes.
Okay.
But you can suggest me if
And
there's a better way of doing it.
this functionality is just to do the add and remove stuff.
Right.
Okay. Have you messed with the grid mode stuff on this side at all yet?
No.
Okay. That's my initial suggestion. I mean, I don't mind working on it a little bit, but you can turn on inline editing and it gives you the ability to edit the fields within the data grid itself. Before we kind of get there, I got to kind of take a moment to frame this out. Hopefully it shouldn't take too long. Let me just see here if I can just get this as quickly as I can. Got to run a fetch to get that data. Got to put results down here. Let's go. We're fetching account. All right, we're fetching all accounts just so we can populate with something. Because again, this is a brand new, not brand new, but install has no data in it. All right, so we have no button on here. At least we're getting data. Count. All right, so that's on the advanced data grid. We got to put a button. Show actions. Output data name is called data grid output. Edit the source. We got to add some fields. You said ID was one essentially.
It's a list of IDs.
List of IDs. And let's go with ID, and we'll go with email address. But that ID is, you're talking about the decisions framework ID field, right? Not one that's custom to yours.
No, it's a custom one.
Oh, it's a
So
custom one.
do you have a list?
Yeah, let me think.
Yeah.
Let me see if any of these are a list. I don't, maybe groups or something is in here as a list. Groups A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Nope. Is any of
I
this?
saw a string array somewhere, some address.
Yes, the address
Permanent.
is still gonna be a single string, I think. I believe it would have those brackets if it was in a list like this. Here we go. Permitted
Yeah, that
IP
one.
addresses.
Yeah.
I just don't know. These are probably gonna be empty, so I might have to just do some configuring here. Apologies on all that. Let's see what we're working with here. Let's just get this process kind of started here. Are we getting data? No. List of account. Yep. Outputting it in session. Let's see what the error code says. Error doing process assignment. We're not making an assignment. Not set to the instance of an
No
object.
data.
Oh, it's because the data repeater. It says something about the data repeater. I didn't do anything
Mm,
to the data repeater. Let's just purge this for a moment and then go back and
Yeah.
address them. All right, let's go. Hopefully we're working. Love to see it. All right, so here we are. We have no lists though. Oh, here's one last thing. So, okay, so just to confirm again, I'm going to reread your chat as well. You want to be able to delete IDs or edit IDs, or what is your goal here again?
Add and remove IDs
Add
from
and
the
remove.
same column. Yeah.
So here's what I might initially recommend. This with your advanced data grid, you're gonna have two, and I can send you a video I made on advanced data grids that's a little more thorough than I can obviously get to here live in the moment. But
Okay.
there's a couple things you got to know. Inline edit right here is available. Let me just go ahead and send that in the chat for everybody. I made it not that long ago, or maybe it was a long time ago, but my brain. Advanced data grid. Inline edit right here.
Okay.
This is old school. I made this. But it's going to walk you through. So if you're like, what did he do? It's that video walks you through everything. I'm kind of going to blast through in there. So you make it inline editable here in grid mode. And then down here on your source, you got to pick which fields you want to be editable. So you click like permitted IP addresses, which again is a list, and you can hit can edit. And then on here, let's say I debug this. I should.
I also want to retrieve that ID that I would be adding. So if you go ahead and add a value here.
It's not going to save it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's trying to save it. Let me just here's what we're going to do real quick.
Okay.
How fast can I possibly do this? Oh, dang, I want to make that a list. Hold up. And everyone else that has questions, I appreciate the patience. We'll get there. Find my structure, edit structure, make this a list. Cool. Let me just pick one here. That'd be nice. I don't think it'll let me do that, will it? Cool. Let's reselect this. Folder description. Favorite foods, where are we at here? Item 1. Buffalo chicken sandwich. as a constant. Yeah, let's add another one. And item 1, we'll do, I don't know. Brussels, crazy combo. All right, so we're making one data piece. We'll make another one, and then we'll run that data through, and we'll have a more on ask task here. Okay, so there's one. We got Greg. What does Greg like? Greg likes. I know Greg pretty well. I don't know how to spell that one. The cabbage food. I'm just gonna put cabbage. What's the
You
name
want
of that
me
one
to
again?
throw it in the chat?
No, no, no.
Okay.
What else do you like, man? You like I saw yesterday with some like bruschetta. I don't know how you spell that, but there he is. All right, so Greg's in there now too. So now we should be able to populate. Boom, feeling good about that. Crash this. Take this. Crash that. Get it down here. Now we're fetching Rob structure instead. All right, and then we gotta change this. Change this. Change this. And I always forget this one. There we go. Boom. I like that more. Always one thing. Gotta make one of the fields editable. We're going favorite foods can be edited. Now we should be closer to real. Separated comma separated. So let's say Greg no longer likes bruschetta and cabbage. Greg now likes corn and cabbage. Error assigning to favorite foods. Could not set favorite foods on object of type. System string cannot be converted into a list of string at runtime. Finder. That was a good one. So we couldn't cast it in. Why would we not be able to cast it into type? Does anything stand out to you there, Greg?
I'm thinking as well. There's nothing. It's the same type. Like, why would
Like
it?
I should just be able to remove this.
Yeah, but still.
Is the comma the problem? I see there's no comma in the first row.
Okay, that's good. That's insightful. Let's learn together. I'm always down. If you've ever been here with me before, you know it's because. But then, how would it know? You know, how would it know? No.
No.
Adjusting a list of IDs that are generated.
Very interesting. It just has like edit sets. Like, what's the setup for just inline edit? Show actions over required message over.
Inline edit. So you can add a button for
There's a
move.
report here, right? That's source. Can we look at that report real quick? Yeah, that makes sense. There wouldn't be anything showing yet.
Allow line breaks.
Maybe. Worth a try.
That's what I had to do for the value separated by a comma in the advanced data grid. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Hit, hitting enter doesn't work
Mm-mm.
No.
instead of the comma.
So it did only output when we ran the delete function. Okay, so we know we're getting something there. It didn't delete it from the database. You'd have to. It's just deleting it from your output, this like list, essentially. It's only outputting a list, which you could then compare. So we're looking for inline editing of a list within a structure. Could it be something in here, Greg? Could it be something in this, like edit here? Or not edit, but you know what I'm saying? Like you click it.
It's a case data structure.
Yeah, in here where you go like this and you go, okay, like this, and then something in this world.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm wondering if it's a database structure versus inline.
We can also have a separate call for this if you think.
Yeah, I think we might be working our way that way, and I appreciate you offering that. I generally like to give it my due diligence because you took the time to join our call and took the time to speak your ask into existence. But it is looking like something I might have to mess with here.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I will have your email from signing up. So let me just add it to my list here. Yeah, and just to follow up with the other folks, I don't know if he's still in here. Is he still in here? Yeah, so Jeremy, no, I got more insight in the support channel. Everyone's coming back from lunch, so I think I'll have an answer for you in the chat. I don't want to send it all out right now because it's kind of a lot of screenshots and stuff, as well as Vitali said for the holiday question, why don't just create an entity configuration extension for the holiday type and then just add a create flow? So
I
you might be able to-
actually, based on what you sent me already, using the save entities step
Mhm.
generates an ID if it's not provided.
Nice.
So that just replacing using that step fixes my problem.
Ah, well, I love to hear it, man. Thanks. Cool. Cool. I'll still send you the screenshots just so you have them, just
Okay.
because the folks took time to do it. But like, essentially, realistically, an ID should self-populate if you try to insert without setting one, unless our code is auto-assigning IDs for things and not SQL. But since this is an ORM object, they shouldn't use SQL to create one, as that would bypass the ORM, and then it would be able to be fetched until the ORM is updated. And here's how he configured his create data with the save entity step. And he sent me a bunch of screenshots, so I'll send you all that stuff just so you
Okay.
have it. But we did get a bunch of stuff right away. So shout out to the
Sounds
support
good.
team. Yeah. Cool. I'm going to keep on rocking. And again, thank you guys for the question. So we have a question about, I have a table, this data populated, and I'm trying to edit them by running a post API call for each record in that table. I have a table with data populated. Okay. I'm trying to edit them by running a post API call for each record in that table. Okay. How to update the data edited for a particular record after performing the post API call and make sure that the edited data is updated on the table after clicking save on the edit pop-up window. Okay, I'm going to unmute you as well. We were going to talk and walk and draw our way through this together. So, hey, is it Fanindra? Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, this is fun.
Hey, man. Thanks for joining. So let's talk here. So you have a post call somewhere in your. So let me just draw because I think that's the best for me.
Yeah, I just created a post call under create data types integration under REST service. So
Cool.
that basically will have the values that I'm trying to update. So let's say we have a table with 10 values like first name, last name, phone number, and all that stuff.
Sure.
So I also have a column which says edit. It has a button in the column. So when I click that button, a pop-up window, a window should pop up, which will have all the fields for that record that can be edited, like the first name, last name that I mentioned. So whenever user will have the chance to edit those values, and once they are edited on the form, I have a save button, and when I click that save button, the post API should get triggered. It should update the database that I for that particular record with the values that the user edited. And as soon as that happens, the pop-up should close and the updated values should show up on the table.
Okay, sounds good, man. So just to confirm, maybe I'm wrong. You have data on the table somewhere. You are using some type of grid, advanced data grid, data repeater, something in that world to populate that data on a form. It's kind
Right.
of similar,
Data
similar
grid,
to the last
advanced.
a data grid. Okay, so that's nice to know. Data grid. You are then on there, there's a pop out form, kind of like the last ask, but then on here, you want to be able to edit it and then write back to that same database. And then once they close out of this, the flow continues.
Right.
Where is that post call? Where do you have it currently?
It's under integrations, and I created a REST.
Oh, do you have it in your flow already though? Is it like, are you using it?
The post call.
Yeah, so where in this process, where you got your form, with your form, do you have that post call step somewhere already, or are you trying to figure out how to place it?
So yeah, so let's say, so when I click the edit button, I'm getting a form, right?
Right, over here.
So that will be in the flow. So in the edit flow. So inside that flow, I have this save button as an output. So whenever I click save, that save output will be triggering the post API call. I mean, I'm assuming that's the spot where it should be. You can,
Yeah, it could be.
yeah,
It
you
could
can
be.
tell me if there are better ways.
And again, Greg, feel free to just cut me off at the legs if I'm wrong here. My initial thought is, let's say I click a button on this data grid and it loads an additional form where you are performing the editing. I'm still online with that, right? So you click a button, it loads another form.
Yes.
What about, let's pretend that this is that second form,
Okay.
putting the post call in an active form flow and getting the selected or getting the values that are in there. So in an active form
Right.
flow, you could
Right.
say, hey, when something happens, when a button is clicked, when the save button is clicked, run this flow, and in here would be your post call.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm getting all the values, all the
Mhm.
input values on the form. I'm mapping it and then trying to update those values. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
So if I understand, the issue is that it's not updating the primary report after the values have been updated in the API database, wherever it's being sourced from.
So there are two scenarios here. For some reason, the post API calls is not updating my database. And the other thing is I want decisions to update to show the user that the data got updated on the UI for now, and then I can figure it out why the post API call is not updating the database. So those two things should happen simultaneously. It should update the database, but on the front end as well, it should update. It should show to the user that the data got updated. So whenever table refreshes, that's when the get API call happens and it gets the data from the DB now. So instead of showing it the old data. Are you guys getting my point?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what it should do. So whenever you click save, two things should happen. One is to update the UI temporarily for now, making sure that user understands that data got updated. But behind the scenes, you will run the post API call, which will update the DB.
Okay. Yeah. So what you're looking for then is like an active form flow that is setting the primary advanced data grid with that new information that the user has input. So there are a few different ways to do this, because one that would be quicker, but I don't know if it would be best practice, is just passing that data in directly as a new row into that advanced data grid. What's nice about that option is you're not waiting on the DB to update. What's bad about that option is you're not waiting on the DB to update. So you get results immediately, but I don't know if that would be necessarily the best. Now, if they have to make constant changes, constant database calls may not be the best way to display this information to the user. Because that if they're doing a lot of changes at once, you're making a lot of calls to that database to get information back and forth. And it could be done. It could be done by running the equivalent of you've seen like the add data repeat remove like entry buttons. Like you're basically running that inside of an active form flow to remove that row before the database gets updated. That gives immediate user results, but if for some reason the database fails, now your data is inconsistent.
Yeah, I don't want that actually.
Yeah, what the only other way that you could do that is you could send a record to update, right? Say in an active form flow. So you have an active form flow, makes an API post call, right?
Mhm.
After that post call, the step after that in your active form flow would be a filter step. So it would say, oh, okay, this table got updated, right? It will take all of the entries of the advanced data grid.
Mhm.
Yeah, so post call happens. And then after that, I think it's a rule collection filter. What? The
There's
filter
a
you
lot of
use
filters.
may
Yeah,
vary.
there's a lot of filters. So rule collection filter does have some performance degradation, not a lot. You just got to realize every time you're hitting this step, not only are you hitting a step, but you're also hitting a rule. So it's kind of a two steps in one, essentially, is the performance implication. But yeah, you could filter it out. I'll let
So
you keep
what your
going.
input collection here would be the list of all of your entries of your type into the advanced data grid. You have access to that data in this active form flow. So you'd pull from flow data, or is it form input? I
It's
think
got
it's
to be
flow
form.
data. Yeah. Yeah, form data, advanced data grid, and then grab all of the data grid account, all the account, right?
It
So what
counts the input. That's what you're getting from fetch. This is the output of the data grid, which I guess is null until you perform it. So yeah, you're right.
yeah, so all from account. And then what you do is in your rule at the top, you specify the line that got edited from your API call. Now, what's nice about this is this will not run until your API call finishes. And you can have an error path on your API call to make sure if that something does happen, it doesn't update this step, right? So you filter out your one entry from the list, right? You say like something in the rule like, entry does not contain so and so field, so and so ID, whatever it is. So that one entry gets filtered out, and then you have a set or create data or set control value step, something along those lines that would automatically update the advanced data grid. I don't know if set control value is going to work with this because I don't know if it's only going to update a selected one. So create data, pass in your type, your output from your filter, which should be of type account for this one or whatever your unique data type is. And then,
It's a list,
it is
right?
a
Or is it
list. It
sync?
is a list. Yes. And then that gets passed in from your, change value, form data, advanced data grid, and then account. Yep.
So yeah, let's say now I told you like there are 10 columns, right? So for each record there are 10 different values, and user can update one, two, or all of them. So is there a component that where we can compare the old data and the edited data that user is trying to edit so that only that edited data is passed to the post call, something like that. So we
Yeah,
are
selected
giving,
row.
selected row has 10 columns. So let's say first name, last name, email ID, phone number, address. So the user decides to only edit address. So I will pass the address edited to the post API call. So uh, uh, So, like whenever user clicks changes the address line on the edit form, so the component should make sure that it only takes the address line and edits, appropriate data, the post. So, is there a component in decisions which would handle like whatever the data that user is editing and compare it and send only the part which he wants to edit?
You probably just want like a rule step, like a some sort of statement rule. And what you can do is you can pass in your complex type and compare it to, I want to say initial value is an option. Can you click on create data for me real quick? Change that constant to flow data. I want to make sure that there's a field that I'm thinking of here. Flow data, form data, advanced data grid, account.
Can you guys unmute Gunjan as well, if possible? Because
Can you what?
unmute Gunjan, the other
Unmute.
Yeah,
participant.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He's unmuted. He's already unmuted.
Okay, cool.
But they're
Yeah.
already unmuted. Yeah. There. Sorry.
Scroll. Can you scroll up a little bit? It may not be in
Mhm.
here. If it's not in here, then it's not the worst thing in the world. Okay.
So, can you guys hear me?
Yep. You sound great.
Yes.
Okay. So we are looking for a way to edit a row in the advanced data grid and then send only that particular row to the post method.
That's easy. That's easy to send just that row. What Fenindra asking about is only one row, one column. That's what we're trying to figure out to only make sure that column gets updated and that we're not rewriting the same rows over and over again for performance. It doesn't actually change anything. If you write the old value with the same old value again, it's not going to make a difference, but we're talking about just updating one row here. That's what this is doing. This flow is updating a row. You're sending a post call to update a row of your structure, one singular object of your structure that runs when a value is changed on that selected row. After that, after it updates, it goes through a rule collection filter step to determine which row was updated in the advanced data grid and then set that particular value in the advanced data grid to the newly updated rows. That goes for a delete. There may be another way that you want to handle that with the specific data that's going in. That is what we are trying to set up now, is with the row and column. And actually, can
Okay.
we exit out of this?
Oh, sorry.
No,
Yeah.
you're good. You're good. No worries. I'm not seeing what I'm looking for in here. So the post call, you would have the value. It would get updated automatically in the advanced data grid. I don't see why we need an action for this. Like an action on the report. We can just check this active form flow to run when a value's changed, right? Like we don't have to. Yeah. Yeah, advanced data grid, select value change. Yeah, we can just set it up anytime a value's changed that this flow runs to the post call.
When does it measure that though? Like if they type in a series of strings, is it posting, 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 posting?
Um,
That'd be my only performance question is, uh, like,
like
you know,
when does it recognize a change or not?
yeah, if you like go in there and change, like, you click something, you change it, you backspace. And you're up,
Oh, I
wrong.
see what you're saying. Oh, yeah, you don't want those performance impacts. That makes sense. Hmm.
I
Could
mean,
do
the
it on you could
event
do it on
button,
selection change.
just do
So
it on
that
an event
way
button when you're ready. Okay,
that's yeah, like an event button to update the change. That kind of makes sense. Yeah, an event
You just
button that would
put an
update it.
event button on there and say, hey, now do this whenever you're ready. And then you're being more declarative rather than letting it be running wild, as they might say.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So you just have like a little save button on your flow. So you only run that API call after you hit the save button.
Yeah.
And all this does right here is run an active form flow. Then you limit the number of post calls you're making. It's only people that are actually hitting the save button that are making that call to the database to update it. That making sense?
Mm. Yes, that makes sense.
That should limit performance impacts as well. And then what you can do is, as long as you don't save the output here and you're only saving it with the post call, then even if the post call fails, the next time that this runs, it still has the post call data, right? It doesn't have any additional data that was saved unless you make it saved after this form in the flow. So you're not going to run into any sort of data not lining up.
So the active form flow will have the post API call, right?
That's correct. And this event button, which we're calling the save button, is what triggers that to run.
Got it.
You
So
can
the
make
main
it. Oh, what were you saying?
so the main flow where the save button is the output. What do you just simply connect it to the end step there?
Yeah, if you don't need to do any more saves than what's already being saved into the post call, you don't need to save it again. You're just making duplicate database calls at that point.
So when will it get updated on the UI then? Like on the table once you click save.
The user updates it on the table. Are you trying to have them do a separate form to update it? You can just do inline edit and let them update each row that they want.
No. So let's say I think I so whenever a user edits on the edit pop-up and click save, that edited value will be shown on the table.
Well, what I'm trying to understand is, why do we need an editor pop-up? Why can they not just edit on the table? If they can't, that's okay. I just want to understand that portion.
So you can edit it on the column itself, but we want to make it look like, you know, whenever you edit it, we want to edit it on the form
Mhm.
instead of editing it on the flow. You know, just to make we will be giving users some permissions, like, you know, only admin user can edit it on the table, but for normal users, you know, we want to go over this route, like editing it on the new pop-up.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I think this method will still be the same. You just add this to the secondary form. Or maybe go ahead, Greg. Sorry. Looks like you got it.
I think so. So if you're running a secondary form, then we're running a sub dialog button to initiate that flow. The sub dialog should have access to the advanced data grid. The only thing that's different now is we're trying to post that updated information to the data grid that gets updated from the form. That's what the challenge becomes, is you can't just edit
Yes.
inside of the thing itself. The way to
Yes.
do that would be to reset the advanced data grid. I call it a reset. You're reinserting the same information that was there before, except with the changes made on your flow that would be running inside of your form. Not the active form flow, but your sub dialog flow, because you have to have a sub dialog flow in order to show a pop-up or like a form or something like that inside of a form. So what you're actually doing is updating the data type, that the list of the data type that's getting passed into the advanced data grid with those updates. You would have a logic in your flow that would update whatever that selected field is, right? And then be able to perform from there. Now, I do have a question on this, and this is where I'm not certain if I'm following or not. You have an action that lets you edit this. Is that action a report action, or is that a sub dialog flow that is running?
It's
Sub dialogue. Yeah.
Okay, that becomes interesting then, because
When you say report, what
no,
does that mean? Like,
can you click on the advanced data grid real quick?
Edit it.
Yep, edit it. This is the report. This is the report designer, and you can have actions on the report. That's what
Oh,
I'm
so
asking.
Yeah,
If
that's what we have.
they're
yeah,
on
that's
the
what we have.
report.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
run inline flow button. So
Run inline flow, so you have access to each.
yeah,
Oh, I
and then
see.
that opens up a form, and then there's a data repeater or something, a text box for all the fields on the
You need
edit.
some sort of save and fetch then. That data is not readable from the main form. So you need to have some sort of save to some sort of database or some sort of structure and fetch or refresh after that has gone. Now you might be able to send a report refresh change or something along those lines inside of this run flow inline field, but that's just going to update the results after they've already been saved somewhere. Because that flow only fetches that once. And the only way that you change what data is in that particular form on the input of the advanced data grid is by overriding it. This step is not going to do that. This inline flow does not have any context that it's being run inside of a form.
Okay,
Could
got
we
it.
call the post, and then once the data has been posted, then call the get?
Call the get.
To
For
populate the advanced data grid with the updates? Is that what we'll have to do?
I don't think that the secondary flow knows the form even exists, right?
right, your flow
Mm.
inside of here, your pick or create flow doesn't have any idea that it's in a form, so it doesn't know to look for that data. So the only way that it can update that is by one, running some sort of like service or API call to decisions itself that would, update that, or two, update a table that contains whatever structure you're housing this in, like a database structure or case entity or whatever it is that is database saved, so that when this is exited out, there is a refresh that occurs that refetches that data into the form. Those are your two options.
And I think, just for time and just for, like, this will be on YouTube, like, we'll make sure that it's on YouTube, but with this amount of depth, I would recommend submitting a support ticket. Just emailing support@decisions.com with as much detail. They're able to look at your use case with you. Obviously, I know we talked yesterday about the inability to share screens because we post these publicly, but they'll be able to do it in a more confidential way and be able to walk and talk your way through it. There's just too many levels of nuance here for us to really give you an accurate answer. We would need to see how this thing is kind of framed out. Like we're trying to kind of give you the most information we can, but I can tell you if you're truly looking for a solution, like support's gonna be able to get it to you in the cleanest and most concise way.
Okay.
Okay, so we just email support@decisions.com.
Correct.
Okay.
And then they'll, like, we have like a less than a couple hour turnaround time. They'll schedule a call and then they can have someone look at your stuff with you and maybe give you some recommendations from there.
I just posted it into the chat, so you guys should see the email in there.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
well, yeah, thank you guys again. And thank you everyone for joining. Appreciate all the stuff. Thank you, all the help, Vitali, Jeremy, everybody, Greg. Thank you guys all for the stuff and the great questions. Like, I even learned a lot in this, which is the best type of lunch to learn from me. So just because we have another meeting coming up here shortly, it's at 1 o'clock. We kind of ran our hour. I'm going to go ahead and kind of close out the session. But once again, truly appreciate if you guys took the time out of your day to join. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Have a good day, everybody.